Hello, brethren. Good afternoon. We're going to go over a very important topic, and we're going to entitle this presentation, The Great Sin of Robbing God. We know that in commandment number 8, it's very specific. Thou shalt not steal. And then once we become a Christian and proclaim his word and proclaim to be a follower of him, well, we know that stealing is really bad, but to steal against our very creator, against God, is quite a serious situation. So we're going to go into this study today, a little bit more about tithes and so forth, and we ask that you pray before you start the video so that God can be faithful and guide you into all truth, claiming the promise of John 16:13. So let's begin. Okay, so there's a clear way to reach mother. And of course, some of you may not be familiar with the term mother. Well, that's used in Hosea 2, verse 1 to 23. And there's a very good lesson for the present truth believers today, those that know about the Elijah message, that this little study here, we may do a study on that very soon, but it's concerning how God relates to the church as a family. And so very beautiful study. But anyway, there's a clear way to reach mother and her children at this late hour. Let us read. Okay, so in this special quote here we brought is 3 symbolic code number 34, page 7. You can read that at your leisure, but we just want to highlight the top part here. The only way we can possibly accomplish this tremendous feat is that each present truth believer experience an awakening to neglected opportunities, and that he be faithful in giving back to God his own in tithes and offerings. So this is a very, very important injunction here from the message found in the Elijah message, that we got to awake to this opportunity, brethren. This is something that I hate to say it, but we find more and more today that people want to profess that they're believers in the message. They want to profess that they're doing the message the way they understand it, and yet what are they doing? They're holding back their pocketbook to do what they think is right. Well, let's go into this study a little more and show that there's a right and a wrong way to do this. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Malachi 3:8. Powerful, brethren, powerful. This shows us that many are going to claim, when that accusation is made from God to them, what are you talking about, Lord? What? I haven't robbed you. Where have I robbed you? This is serious, brethren. Very serious. Many are going to plead this today if they don't wake up and start returning the tithes. Our own plans with God's tithes spell disaster. The independent, self-sent ones are creating Babylon. And we find this in Answer, Volume 4, page 44 and 45. Nowhere in Scriptures do we find permission to use the Lord's money at our own discretion. The only justification for so doing would be the sheer inability, for some reason, to send it to the Lord's storehouse. Now, let's stop there for a second. I want to go over this real quick. There are brethren today, and some on YouTube, that are claiming that this is a good excuse right here. There's no way to send it to God's storehouse because all the organizations are messed up, except, of course, theirs that's making this video presentation. So this is a straw man's weak argument, brethren, that God has somehow forsaken the brethren. And he's got this association fighting over here and this one there, and he's just like washing his hands saying, well, I don't know what's going on. Let them just do what they want to do. No, no, no. God has taken over and led the storehouse all the way from Brothers Holiday. And then, of course, he had to regroup back in Los Angeles, Riverside, and then go on the Ezekiel 47 East River course. Of course, you can find that in the message that's how the storehouse progresses on the eastward course. And of course, a lot of brethren today will say, well, that's not really applicable, because they want to use that as excuse because they're justifying their own existence. So, we see some brethren that are maybe located in the middle of the United States. Of course, they can't use the Ezekiel 47 River clear counsel by the message. They can't use that because that shoots them down. So let's just pay attention that this is a straw man's argument when they say that there's no real storehouse, therefore they're entitled to do what they want. Don't fall for it, brethren. Should one voluntarily, though, engage in such a practice, then he would set the wrong example before others. And if following in his lead, others assume the same right, their course must inevitably result in seriously handicapping the Lord's work, bleeding and subverting his treasury, and thus disorganizing his work and reducing the church to a mere shell, while her members are hiring themselves as laborers in the vineyard, helping themselves to the Lord's money and running without having been sent. What a Babylon that would be. Oh boy, yes, sirree. That is so true. In fact, that's what we see, unfortunately, today, is somewhat of a Babylon, because these self-sent ones, these justifiers, these people that are saying that, everything's messed up, and we just got to use the money on our own way because everything is messed up. It's a Satan trick, as we will show you further. With each passing day, more and more that God requires his people to gladly support his cause. First, by their tithes and offerings. Malachi 3, 8-10. Now, brother, that is applied today. This is the first part of the requirements, and that's what we're fulfilling today. And last, by selling all if they would enter into life eternal. Of course, we know once the call is made and Ezekiel 9 has taken place, we get rid of everything and we're on our way. So we have to be ready to move at a moment's notice. And that's when the second part kicks in, that we've left everything on the way to the kingdom. He who takes part in the first of his requirements will at last with joy go all the way by selling all when God gives the command. Thus only may he joyfully buy the field with the great treasure. Beautiful quote found in 10 Symbolic Code number 1, page 5. Okay, so this is that Satan illusion trick that we want to expose. And of course, the injunction is found in 8 Symbolic Code number 1-12, page 23. The message invests no one with authority to solicit financial help to carry on either their work or that of the shepherd's rod. Very powerful, brethren. Or that of the shepherd's rod. And all field workers recognized by this association are furnished with 1943 credentials. So we see that this inspired statement is a twofold message. First, it lets the people know back then how to distinguish the real workers in the message. So this was a very timely statement back then. But in the first part of the statement, it definitely makes a statement that the message, and is the message alive today? Of course it is. So the message never invests anyone with authority to solicit financial help. Okay, so this warning means nothing to those who will cry out, I am innocent, when they plead their excuse for not returning God's money in that dreadful day. Their own pockets and ideas were their storehouse operations to dispense his money at their own discretion in the name of the shepherd's rod. You see how they paint this ugly pig with a beautiful covering. It's a deception, brother. Don't fall for it. This is a trick by some of the brethren that are telling us that we can do what we want with the tithes as long as we do it rightly. False, brother, false. Okay, so we get to the crux of the matter, and the Lord has guided the true followers of the message today to know about his two true storehouses, and they are the first one found in Mountaindale. We're all familiar with Mountaindale. And the second one is found in Waco, Texas. And of course, that is not to be confused with the Waco, Texas organization that's very close to the original one there today. Waco, Texas, by the leaders are Brother Archer, Brother Decarius, and Brother Smith, and so forth. Those are the ones that we're talking about here. Okay, so the result in not returning God's tithes is very solemn, brother, and we can find that's in Testimonies, Volume 1, page 198. Angels keep a faithful record of every man's work, and as judgment passes upon the house of God, the sentence of each is recorded by his name, and the angel is commissioned to spare not the unfaithful servants, but to cut them down at the time of slaughter. And that which was committed to their trust is taken from them. So we see, brethren, that this is very, very solemn. Something we cannot misjudge and not disobey. Instead of being found a thief, let's experience his promise. Of course, we have that wonderful promise in Malachi 3:10. And I want to just say, I'm closing this short presentation this afternoon, that I am a witness to this beautiful promise. Some of you may have read some of our reports and our blogs, God's Love and Law and Hear Ye the Rod, where I posted that since we began returning the tithes faithfully to the aforesaid organizations, we have a secular business that we've run for many, many years, 26 years to be exact. And we were also ran before we started the program here. And in a short period of time, I'm talking about months, we catapulted to the #1 rated company in our business, in our line of business. So we've seen the fulfillment. And to this day, we want to say that we often say, wow, Lord, thank you so much. Even during COVID, brethren, we have increased our business 20 to 25%. Is that not a great testimony? Praise the Lord. So he has watched over us, just as this promise right here tells us. You see, this is so beautiful. The Lord has his hand out, ready to shake your hand. If you're in any kind of trouble, in fact, one of the quotes from the rod says, you're down on your luck, start returning your tithes. You see what happens. So the Lord asks us to try him on this. And this is what I really am amazed how not that many of the brethren in the world, especially the present truth believers, take the Lord up on this proposition. You know, it's amazing. He's waiting to shake our hand, brethren. He's got his hand extended out to you and me. Are we going to reach out there and say, Lord, maker of the universe, I'll take that deal. Let's do it. Shake his hand, and you watch what starts happening in your life. Don't forget, the Lord and his angels are able to put a bag of money on your doorstep if he has to. Okay? So that's how powerful the Lord will fulfill his word, no matter what. You'll see it happen in your life. So thank you again for listening to this short video, and we want to highlight this because we see that this part of the walk in our lives is something that we need to really pay attention to in these very last days of probation. We see the events coming around the world with this COVID, and the globalists making their last ditch effort to take the world into a new world order, which we know will fail. Praise the Lord. And so we're at serious times, brethren. We've got to look at our walk, clean up our walk, and get ready. So until next time, may God continue to guide you into all truth. God bless.